Hi everyone. We're here to talk about Barbera, which is for a lot of you, you may or may not know that Barbera has become really a mainstay for us here at Portalupi. We've been very fortunate to have won numerous awards, including Best Barbera in the World some years ago. So we thought we'd really concentrate on the varietal and give you a little background on it. First off, we're going to start off talking about the history of Barbera. Barbera has been in Italy, specifically northern Italy, for about 2,000 years, I would guess, but was also brought over here to California by the early Italian immigrants in the late 1800s, probably best known in the 50s and 60s by old classic families such as Louis Martini and the Sebastianis, who made it popular, at least here in California and in wine country. But historically, it's the third most planted red grape in Italy, has been, like I say, for centuries plus, and probably the best known region for it is Piemonte, northern Italy, the Asti area. So I guess another aspect of Barbera that we really need to talk about is the viticulture aspect of growing Barbera. It is a very vigorous vine, and it thrives in, here again, historically in northern Italy, where there's very alkaline or saline soil, much like we have here in our two locations of Barbera. So it's very minerally soil, as you can see, or maybe not see, but that's the situation here. And we try to plant Barbera here in Northern California in locations that simulate the growing environment in northern Italy, which is in Piemonte, which is the foot of the Italian Alps, where here again you have that alkaline soil that's mainly slaty minerally, and a lot of times we'll plant it in the Sierra foothills, which mimics that. Here again, warm days, really thrives on warmth, and it loves the alkaline. So that's a proven environment for classic Barbera. And once again, continuing on our discussion of Barbera, both its history, its viticulture practices, soils it likes to go back to the soil, for example, I mentioned minerally. Well, this is a classic example of minerally right here, in that this was extracted out of the vineyard when it was prepared many years ago. But nonetheless, we're going to talk a little bit more about the winemaking technique, what we do with the grapes once they come inside the winery. And historically, you want to get the grapes really right by virtue of the inherent acidity of the Barbera grape. The riper the sugar, the higher the glycerol, and it balances that acidity out and allows the wine to still to clean the palate and to be very crisp. But more importantly, what we're doing winemaking style in the winery is our selection of barrels. Here again, we're talking about the fermentation and the higher sugar, but barrels are integral in the aging of the wine. We like to have pretty medium plus toast levels or higher to give the wine some spice substance, and it is picking a cadre or melange of different oak species that complement the sort of complex fruits and styles of the Barbera grape. So that's what we're doing with the grapes once they come into the winery. And finally, in our discussion about Barbera is talking about the flavors, the sensory experience, evaluating the wine for all its complexity and how it pairs with certain foods. Here again, I'd like to point out that Barbera always been the mainstay red wine of far northern Italy, where they have colder winters, and their foods tend to be heavier, more robust, rich, a lot of rich cheeses, things such as Asiago, Fontina, Parmigiano, Pecorino, what have you. And these are very rich cheeses. And by virtue of, as we mentioned, the great acidity of this wine, it cuts through all those things and cleans the palate for every bite. So that's the real fundamental aspect of this wine. It pairs up so well with rich cuisine, and Northern Italian is probably one of the richest cuisines on the planet. So that's the the fundamental part historically of this wine, but to understand the nuances of it, it's got complexities that differ from things like Cabernet or Pinot Noir, the French and the Burgundy and Bordeaux varietals. It tends to be a little more plum, fig, mushroom earthiness to it, but still bright. There's two primary styles of Barbera, what we refer to as the d'Asti style and the D'Alba style. It's sort of like talking about Napa Valley Cabernet and Sonoma Valley Cabernet, where the D'Alba style tends to be the bigger, more Napa style, and the d'Asti is the more brighter, approachable style, which would be the more Sonoma Valley Cabernet if we were to use a domestic comparison. So that's the basics of the wine appreciation aspect of Barbera. And finally, one thing I'd like to say is most of us who have been in the wine industry either all our lives or in some cases for generations, we can all tell you in our travels, especially to the primary cuisine capitals of the world and wine regions of the world, that when you're in Paris, Rome, New York, San Francisco, what have you, invariably if you get into discussions with sommeliers, chefs, and other winemakers, we will tell you that Barbera is probably the most underappreciated and unheralded food wine on the planet. And you really need to experience it to understand it and see the magnificentness and the versatility of the wine.